All right, what's your fourth one?
You ready?
I am.
Are you ready?
I am ready.
Cloud Kitchens. Now, this is
Woo!
a story all about how I had to learn them, like we would say in the South.
Okay.
I had to learn them.
I had learning to do.
I had to learn him on this one. I had to teach him. I had to not teach him, but I had to inform him about cloud kitchens. And this is something that we talked about in one of our episodes where I said in a year where people have watched their in the restaurant business, they've watched their livelihoods get stripped away from them for one reason or other. Whether obviously the government closing restaurants, ridiculous, unconstitutional, immoral, wrong. Those are my opinions. This is idiots versus idiots. I'm stupid. Everyone listening is
I can
stupid.
verify all those statements that Danny just made. I mean,
But I'm just saying that is my opinion. But that is horrifying. And if you're someone who dreamed of, I'm going to save up money. I'm working at all these not crappy restaurants. I'm working crappy jobs at restaurants as a line cook, as a sous chef, and one day I'm going to go open my own concept. And you live through the Takata year, and you go, okay, all these, you can see videos of something that's illogical, like California, where they close a lady's restaurant after she put all this money into doing outdoor dining.
I saw that. Yes.
And right next in a one parking lot adjacent to her, they have huge tents put up for a movie set. And listen, that is if you're an entrepreneur, I'm a businessman. I think about what is the regulatory burden that an industry has before I get into it. And most of the businesses I've got into up until now, very recently, I'm going to get my real estate license coming up here soon. But up until now have been things that did not involve the government at all. They were just unregulated industries. Marketing, you're starting a marketing company and all this other stuff, and the reason I got into those industries is because there's no barriers to entry and there's no regulation. What Cloud Kitchens offers people is, and this year I think really put through gas on the fire of this industry because of apps like Uber Eats, Grubhub. In Austin, we have Favorites, and they closed all their other cities. I think they're only in Austin. They're only in Texas. Postmates.
Right.
You have all of these
delivery
delivery
services. Yeah.
And what's happening and what people are witnessing is, I was just at a Chipotle. Well, I was at Chipotle at the end of last year. And what's really interesting is these newer restaurants are now building a separate delivery kitchen.
Right.
On the adjacent to there. So you come in. So DoorDash guy, Grubhub guy isn't, and I forget which one Uber acquired. I think it was Grubhub, but I can't remember.
Right. You still have Uber Eats in a lot of places, and
well, yeah, Uber Eats is but it acquired Grubhub or DoorDash. I can't remember which one. Nonetheless, what that industry, the food delivery, the balkanization or the democratization of food delivery. So it's not just pizza, it's not just Chinese food anymore.
Right.
It's everything, and they have figured out this way to do it. And if you go to a restaurant now, they just have a separate ticket taker that just goes, this is what came in a delivery order. And there are some restaurants that are still I remember there was a story a couple years ago of, I forget what restaurant it was. I want to say it was Five Guys. The Obama administration made a huge order and said, can you guys just prep it and we're going to come pick it up? And they said, yeah, we don't do that. You can send somebody down here and they can wait, but we don't do what you just asked for. And I don't think it was a political statement. I think they were just saying, we don't do that.
You're right. We don't do that.
We're not built for that. So Cloud Kitchens, what Cloud Kitchens as a concept offers, and Travis Kalanick is a massive investor in Cloud Kitchens. I forget what his company's called, but the basic concept of a ghost kitchen is there ain't no restaurant. There's no storefront. There's no dining experience. They've removed the hospitality out of the hospitality industry. And that's why it's a controversial subject among restaurateurs.
Right.
But what it does is it says you and I can go Fat Boy Burgers, Idiot Burger, Idiot Taco, whatever we want, and just say, hey, we're going to put a concept together. We're going to go buy up ad space on one of these apps or 5 of these apps, flood the market with our advertising, and we're a new taco company. We're a new taco shop. If you move to Central Texas, like a lot of people are doing right now, my first order of business was, where are the good tacos at?
Right.
And now, and so what Cloud Kitchens offers is like, you can just start a taco delivery only business.
Yeah, they're classified as light commercial, right? So you can essentially go into a mixed warehouse type of environment. You bulk out a kitchen, right? A commercial kitchen, and like you said, you eliminate no seats, no walk up, no nothing. 100% out the door delivery service, Grubhub, Uber Eats, whatever, right? Comes to your door and you take it out. I think it offers, and I get why some people would be on board with it as far as big investors. I mean, you're talking about one of the biggest issues with restaurants as an entirety is niche restaurants. It's very difficult to, if you're let's say like here, Pluckers, right? As a they serve hot wings and beer and whatever. If for whatever reason hot wings and beer and stuff like that went out of style tomorrow, it would be very difficult for Pluckers to transition their menu and their model to be a burger joint instead of a wing bar, right? Or whatever it is. Where a cloud kitchen or a virtual kitchen in this way could be very nimble. You could be a taco shop for 10 weeks, and then, guess what? Gourmet burgers are what's selling right now. Well, we're also going to do burgers now, right? We're also, because it all is around that concept of, we don't have anybody walking in. We have no marketing on the wall or the decor on the, door.
No branding anywhere.
There's no branding anywhere. We are literally, you could be a different type of restaurant every week. You could be 10 different restaurants all running out of the same kitchen and going out in that way, and be very nimble with your menu, be very nimble with what you serve and how you serve it, what times a day you could close. You could only be open for dinner and not at all work the rest of the day if that was your market, if that's what you were trying to go after. So I get the advantageous of it. I think that people like restaurants. I think as the Dos Equis, as you would say, trails out, through next year, due to the different things, I think people go back to restaurants in droves. People like that experience. Now, does that mean there's not a market for this? No, I think there still is. But I don't think cloud kitchens or ghost kitchens is another name for them, take over the restaurant market. I think there will always be a restaurant market as long as there's dating, as long as there's nights out, as long as there's that kind of stuff.
Listen, here's my thought on it, right? Here's what I think. I think it's just offering people scale, right?
Right.
If you thought about opening a restaurant 15 years ago, let's say, right? Because food trucks only became as popular as they are during the crash. And there was I forget the guy's name. He's a chef out in California, and he made a Korean taco truck. And that was like, he's just like, hey man, I'm going to go make $4 tacos because the entire economy's in the tank, and who's going to walk into my restaurant? And I think what this offers is, there's another added thing here, which you were saying is like, you can just be whatever, Mr. Beast of VIX, I think he's one of the top 10 YouTube earners in 2020, started Mr. Beast Burgers. And he's just popping them up on various cities. Right. We have a story, we'll link in the thing, in the description. He just said, yeah, we're having Mr. Beast in Dallas. Delivery only. And I think it's so interesting that, in the era that we currently exist, where we have a lot of influencer marketing, how easy is it now and this is not a new concept. In times past, celebrities have owned restaurants. It's not new.
Well, not only owned restaurants, but made partnerships with restaurants. What was
that's what I'm saying.
Not long ago, it was the Logan Paul burger at McDonald's or some other fast food restaurant.
No, it was not. That's not.
Whatever.
You're entirely incorrect.
Okay,
Travis
then go
Scott.
Ahead. Okay, Travis Scott burger at where?
McDonald's.
All right, so I had it half right. The point is, famous person.
Scott is nowhere near Logan Paul.
I don't
my
care.
Goodness.
Famous person partners with fast food chain. Yeah. Go up and order the Big Man burger, and you get a certain thing, right? It's no different than any other McDonald's burger. It just might have pickles instead of ketchup or whatever. But that's the point. I could see this easily fitting nicely with those kind of relationships, right?
Yes.
Idiots versus idiots, right? The idiot burger, right? We could offer that
Right.
in Dallas very easily by partnering with a ghost kitchen or whatever.
Yep.
And
And the idiot burger, it would just be a slice of thinly sliced chicken, but there's nothing else on it. It's just a bunch of
how
wrapped
dare
up
you,
lunch meat.
sir? How dare you, sir?
No, wouldn't it be funny if it was just
How
like wrapped up lunch
dare
meat?
you, sir? That would be wonderful.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I could see that. I could also see this eliminating food trucks entirely. Like, why
don't
would I
think
go
so.
out and open up a food truck when I could partner with one of these kitchens, test my concept, and if it works,
That's
grow it from there, right?
That's what I think. Actually, I think it's going to be one of these things where, let's say I'm a big guy, right? I've done a lot of taste testing. So, what I'm driving at is though, I would have. There's a lot of industries, like I said in one of the other stories, I avoid because of regulation and because it creates all these hurdles. Whereas with a ghost kitchen, I can absolutely see a version of myself, a long time in the future. I go and I start up with a ghost kitchen. I put together a team. We put together a menu, and then that spins off into food trucks, right? And then we do whatever. But I'm just saying, this is creating what's interesting is, this is going to create, I think, scale. And there's a lot of restaurants, whether it's Chinese takeout, Mexican places, or whatever kind of food where it's just takeout only already, that will benefit from the economy of scale that this kind of offers them, which is, if you go to, there's a lot of mom and pop Chinese restaurants,
Right.
and I think they're walk up only, and I think they would benefit heavily from, they're going to go be in a cloud kitchen. And the thing about this is, you can take in like you said, a warehouse space that doesn't have all of these retail requirements, right? And then it offers, like, instead of they say it costs $50,000 to go build out a restaurant, and you're mostly doing walk up takeout only,
Right.
but the cloud kitchen is going to say, yeah, 10 grand or whatever you put up. And in Dallas, we have this thing. It's a food hall. I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head. And it was on Shark Tank. And these guys were going on Shark Tank to talk about their waffle company or whatever the heck they were selling, whatever restaurant it was. Like, yeah, we're in a food hall. So it basically took the concept of a food truck, and it just said, we're going to just put all the trucks are just parked somewhere anyway. We're just going to put a hall down, and we're just all going to split. It's
Like a food court or but look, I think
people ain't going to the mall, so they took the food court out, which is probably the only sustainable part of a mall now anyway.
Right, absolutely. No, we have several of those here in Austin, and there've been several of them that have tried to pop up around places and stuff like that, and it creates loyalty. But I think to me, the value in this idea, if it was to catch on, if you got enough of these open in enough big enough cities, right, Dallas and Houston and New York and LA and stuff like that, I think what would be more advantageous is for you to own one of those ghost kitchens and then literally market out the wrapping, right? I make breakfast tacos in the morning, and I make these. What do you want? Do you want your wrapping on it is the only thing that changes when the order comes in. I make breakfast tacos for 50 different restaurants, right? And they're all paying me to wrap up the same breakfast taco. Just when it goes out, it has, whatever's company on it, or whatever.
Yeah, so
you could take, this is how Coca-Cola, Pepsi, and stuff like that. This is how they do it. They all come out instead of Dr. Pepper or Pepsi now, but Pepsi having a bottling company in Austin and Coca-Cola also having a bottle company in Austin. They made a deal with each other decades ago that, hey, you let us make Coca-Cola out of your Pepsi manufacturing plant in Austin, and we'll let you make it out of ours in Chicago or whatever. And it all comes from the same place. So they're utilizing each other's situations across the country. If you use this to leverage food in the same way, where, hey, I'm now opening up if I own a restaurant in Austin, I'm now opening up in Houston, not because I'm opening up a restaurant. I've made a deal with a ghost kitchen in there that's going to make my product and just deliver it.
And the founder, the founder of Uber, Travis Kalanick, who was, and listen, it seemed like a failure to a lot of people at that time, but it's starting to look like he was a genius because he hopped out of one business that's never going to turn a profit, and he took a bunch of cash on his way out, and he started. I think his company is called Cloud Kitchens. If I'm correct, I don't recall.
I think if I remember right, when I was doing my research, there was a company called actual Cloud Kitchens,
And I think that's
and
Travis.
these are Cloud Kitchens, Ghost Kitchens,
Ghost
right?
Kitchens it's the Kleenex versus tissue paper.
Right.
So the Ghost Kitchen is probably the more accurate vernacular here, but I just think, like I said, it's going to be. Listen, Kylie Jenner has never made makeup in her life. She's never gone to a factory.
Correct.
Yeah, somebody brought it to her house and said, we can put Kylie on these different lip kits, right? Mr. Beast, I guarantee you. And here's the thing: ultimately, is if people are like, I remember when one of my best friends, he flew into Austin, and we went and sat in the Franklin barbecue line for 4 hours.
Mm-hmm.
And we sat in it 3 hours or 2 hours the day before. We're like, yeah, we screwed up, man. You can't go on a weekend. You're done for. So we had to come back, and he pushed his flight back a day, right? Mm-hmm. So we could go on a Tuesday and sit there. So it was a good time. But it's and you can pay people to go to the Franklin line for you, but I'm saying if you figure out, because Franklin's is one of those things where it's a process and it's hard to do. Mm-hmm. Barbecue, any good barbecue is going to take time, and it's really hard to measure, because you don't know what kind of demand you're going to have on a given day.
Right.
If you can mitigate most of that by saying, listen, we're just going to, by the time you get to it anyway, it's, hot. It's so what if, companies like that go, yeah, we're going to put a Franklin up in 2 different other cities or whatever, or we're just going to have, our best days of the week are Thursday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Every other day we're Cloud Kitchen. We are only using the brisket smokers in the back. You guys can use the front. I'm just saying this offers so much flexibility in an industry that was historically inflexible.
Right.
It was, and so I'll connect it to something that I'm more familiar with. I know a guy who owns a car dealership. And he's like, yeah, once he lays down a license and the location, he just tells other people, yeah, you go, sublet the spot for me. There's 4 guys under one roof selling different cars, and it's all the same garbage, but it's hilarious. But the point is, he lowered the barrier of entry to people who are interested in an industry. And I think here's what I think. I don't think this is going to kill the restaurant industry. I don't think this is the silver bullet. I think Dos Equis massively hurt the industry. And I think for a lot of people, this is actually how they get back on their feet.
Sure.
Right?
Well, and I think it's an addition to. Sometimes you can have an addition to. It doesn't have to replace. It can be an addition to. I think there's a lot of things this year that have become more mainstream. We talked about even on this show that the show has kind of come out of being this year, and being that this type of show has become more and more, mainstream and that kind of thing, being that we talk to each other through, communication this way, no matter where we're at.
I still hate it, but,
you hate everything. Get out of here. You're an idiot.
Not true.
Anyway, the point is I think this would be a great in addition to, if it happens, if it takes hold, if it's a concept. I think there's a lot of money to be made. We already know, and what you're talking about with Jenner and stuff like that, it's been around forever. It's called white labeling, right? I can take my name, my brand, my whatever, all day long and slap it on somebody else's product and pay them for it, right? Give them a slice of pie or whatever. And I think that's essentially the idea. This restaurant idea is
the George Foreman Grill.
Yeah.
It was literally a company, an agency came to George Foreman and said, we have 5 products. What do you think? I think one was a vacuum or something. I don't remember. But he's like, I really like the grill and so on and so forth. And the guy made $1 bajillion off a sucky grill. The grill was George Foreman grills were terrible.
I had one or 2 along the way at some point.
The problem is they took all the fat out of it, right? So then what?
Fat is flavor, right?
Yeah.
But the point is what we were just talking about.
He
put his
Stupid
name
Love
on something else that he didn't develop himself.
Not just his name, the name of all 8 of his children, including his daughter.
That is true, which is insane to me. But
You can't let a guy who's been bopped in the head that many times name kids.
You could make millions of dollars selling this to influencers, right? The like you said, the guy, the podcasting guy, and he's now got a burger, right? If you went to these
He's not a podcasting guy. You
He's a
have
YouTube
children
guy.
that are in, yeah, he's a YouTuber.
Why are you busting my balls, Danny? Like,
You
why
have
you busting
sons that are
what
in
do
his
I care?
demographic.
What do I care whether he's a podcaster, a YouTuber, an
Those are two
Instagram,
different
a
things.
TikToker? I don't care. They're all
those are
social
different
media
things.
type. I understand they're different things, and yes, I'm ancient and I'm old. The point though is I think if you took this concept, if you actually got a ghost kitchen up and running, you
Right.
could sell that burger, that whatever taco
totally.
to an unbridled amount of
Yeah,
YouTubers,
totally.
podcasters, influencers
And
out there.
I'm also just thinking, like, if you go out there, and there's a lot of people who build brands around fitness right now, right?
Right.
So they go, hey, listen, I've got my juice. I got a juice company, Cloud Juice. Juice Land in Austin's printing money,
Right.
right? It's silly. They print
Because the
silly
marketing,
money.
the markup on something like that is insane.
Yeah. Yeah. What does wheatgrass cost? 4 cents? And that's for like 2 years worth of wheatgrass. It's 4 cents,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And
I've
all
had
the
a
purple
wheatgrass
hairs.
shot before. That is
It's
woo.
okay. I'll pass.
That's like licking your freshly minted front lawn right there.
I don't do that. Okay. I don't do that. I'm here for a good time, not a long time. But I'm just saying, like, I really love this concept, and what I really like in any industry or any time in the marketplace, when something really difficult gets democratized, that's when me, the consumer, me, the chubby boy who likes to eat tasty things, that's when I get the opportunity to eat tastier things. That's when I got the when Casual Mail, which is now Destination XL, which is
Right.
just DXL, does a partnership agreement with Amazon, which is probably bad for them. Right? It's probably not good for
Right.
DXL. It's great for me.
Sure, absolutely.
It's good for me. So I think what we're going to see is a lot more creativity, because you're 18, 19, 20, and you figure out, like, there's only one thing that I make with, I think is world class, which is a brisket pizza, right? I can figure out now how to give that pizza to the world. Right?
Absolutely.
And I can just say, yeah, we're popping up in Dallas for 2 months. We're going to be in Austin for 3 months, whatever. And that's it. Like, it lowers the barrier to commitment. Like, it's fantastic. And I think it's great. And
Can you imagine marketing this to families? Like, I have a wife and 3 kids. Can you imagine if I had a ghost kitchen near me that was partnered with or represented, let's
Whomever.
just say 5 different restaurants, right?
right.
You realize how often I would order from that place, because my wife and I could get this from this menu, my kids
And,
could get
yeah.
this from this menu, you know what I mean, or whatever. You could
It's a
literally,
delivery
with
food
one
court.
delivery, get 3
Yeah.
different restaurants, because that's what everybody's feeling for that night. You market that to families.
Yeah. Right. And here's what's interesting. We'll end on this, because we've been going a little longer than we anticipated.
Yeah.
A guy last year, and this was part of my initial question to you, was he went on Shark Tank last year with a ghost kitchen concept, where he said, I build the ghost kitchen, I rent it out to other people, but I also run 5 different menus. So he just says, I have 5 concepts. There's 8 concepts. I forget what it was. An Asian concept, a pizza concept. And listen, this is actually how restaurant groups function, right?
Right.
They go, okay, we have an Indian fusion restaurant. Now we need a Tex-Mex, whatever. And so that they're covering all their bases. And I think that's beautiful. I think that delivery food, at the end of the day, this year has kind of proven that, sometimes we got to do weird stuff to feel special.
Right.
And ordering in, now you can take ordering in from, like, okay, what choices? It's like the 4 pizza places in that one Chinese restaurant. And then there's that episode of Seinfeld where Elaine's, like, right outside of the delivery zone. Like,
Yes.
you don't know Seinfeld.
I
like,
know
Seinfeld,
Seinfeld.
but
I do know Seinfeld. Yes, I do.
yeah,
No
but
soup
it's
for
like
you. Yes.
no, that's a different episode. But yeah,
I don't care if it's a different episode. It's still Seinfeld. Get on board, you jerk. All right?
Yeah,
Busting my balls.
okay. I know, but I'm just saying. So that is what I think is going to be so fun about this. Is it's going to offer people who couldn't previously thousands, tens of thousands of dollars, because somebody's entrepreneurs like you and I are going to go in and we're going to build ghost kitchens, or we're going to figure out the health department side of it. We're going to hire the chefs, and a chef is going to come in and say, okay, you guys already have the line cooks. I'm just going to tell them how to make my food.
Right. Follow
And-
this recipe, right? That's what
That's it.
something like that will be. You're buying the
Totally.
recipe, right? And the name
Totally.
from that kind of thing.
Absolutely.